Hello and welcome to the Knit Girl.
Hi, I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
And I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les, and this is episode 12 of The Knit Girls. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to The Knit Girls. This is episode 123?
Sure.
I think that's what you put on the show notes.
Yes, it is what I put on the show notes.
And I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
I'm Laura, also known as Lala. Awesome.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 234. It is it's December 31st, 2014, the last day of the year. Mm-hmm. And I am Laura, also known as Lala.
And I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
Hello. I couldn't tell if I hit the button or not.
Did you?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
You totally hit the button. Good job.
Yay, button hitting. I'm not allowed to hit the button at Leslie's house, so.
It's a very fancy button. Retinal scanning.
I have to fingerprint in. I have to clock in with a fingerprint at work.
Biometrics.
Yeah. Because people would like to pretend to be me all the time. Hi, I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
And this is the Knit Girls. And it's
usually a knitting show.
Usually. And it's episode 345. Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 456. I'm Laura, also known as Lala. I pointed to myself that way.
Just
like
in case.
I'm a boss.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
This is episode 567. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is the 20th of March, almost of February, 2022. Laura and I both use she, her pronouns. I think I said my name is Leslie. We're both out of sorts.
I'm trying to count, so I'm like totally messed up. Because you said the date, and I'm like, what now?
Oh, yeah. I said a number. I'm going to screw it up.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a friend visiting in town, which was wonderful.
Yeah, it was. It was lovely.
We went to a couple of local spots. Laura had been to all of them already.
I mean, when you're a teacher, you go on... I've heard that about myself. I go on a lot of field trips. Yeah. So we went to Elmwood Cemetery, which is the largest cemetery in Mississippi/Memphis
the
area.
Oldest, like, historic with Gothic.
It's like Victorian age. It was built in
1860s.
Yeah. Yeah, around about there. 1850s, 1860s. So it has a wide variety of clientele, which is really interesting. Yeah. And then we also went to the National Civil Rights Museum, yep, which is at the Lorry Motel in Memphis, which is always an educational endeavor for sure. And it was nice to be able to go through. Usually I'm there and I'm watching kids and trying to also look at exhibits because the exhibits do change sometimes. And it was nice to be able to go at my own adult pace with adult company and actually absorb a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we did those things and ate lots of barbecue.
Yep.
And just enjoyed some life. It was my spring break, so you will see quite a bit from me, except I forgot my sweater. But I have a picture to put in. So.
Oh, you're finished.
Yep.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Well, why don't you start us off then?
Okay. I am currently knitting on the toe of a sock. Leslie drove us around quite a bit, and the tour of Elmwood was a driving tour. So I could knit as I listened and looked at things. So that is the second sock. Here's the first. So one sock done. I might actually get these done in March. And one sock to go. These are going to be for my sister. This is Knit Spin Farm Targhee Sport in the Inspire Your Heart with Art colorway on size 1 needles. I cast on 56. I don't cast on 56 stitches. I cast on 28 and work my way up to 56 stitches and then just knit round and round and use Wendy Johnson's Toe Up Heel with Gusset, which is free on her website, wendyknits.net. And so first one done, one to go. It's living in the Zanomi Fat Squirrel bag. So that is the first thing that I worked on. And I got all the way from, I hadn't even done the heel yet. The heel increases when last we spoke. So that's pretty cool. And then I cast on something new. So this is a sweater called Recalibrate.
I love how crazy it looks right now just because of the construction.
Also, I'm in the middle of a row, apparently.
Of course. Is there any other place to stop?
I
can
mean,
hold parts of it if you tell me what you want me to hold.
No,
Okay.
like, I'm just glad that it did not come off the needles. Alright, so this is Recalibrate. It starts with this brown panel, and there's two of those. One has one marker on it, and one has a 2 marker on it. These markers are from Gelby. They are super handy when you need to label things. So it's like a 2 with little mushrooms. And then I also have one of her 1 markers. There we go. So you knit the 2 center panels, and I kind of use those as my gauge swatches. And then from there, you pick up on one side of each and cast on in the middle. So this is the cast on part between the 2. You can't see this section where my hands are. That's the cast on part that will go here between the 2 of them. And so I'm working on the front and back, right side or left side at the same time. And it's all garter. It's just picking up, so there's no seaming. It's by Shayna Lines.
Is this the handspun sweater you're going to try to finish for flyaway?
Yes. So I don't know that it'll happen. The center panel, the dark brown, is a CVM fleece that I bought a long time ago. And I have a ton of more of. And then this is Wee Chickadee and Old Pine and something else. I did a combo spin back in December. And when I was at my parents' house, actually, for Christmas. So this is kind of giving me Christmas vibes, for sure. But I am going to actually run out of yarn. I'm not going to have enough yarn because I did decide to add length. The pattern has 2 different lengths and tons of different sizes, and you can just figure out gauge and go from there. So I am going to add brown stripes in. And it does call for stripes. Or I have a new colorway from Hello Yarn that's very similar that I could also. That's more of the like blues and greens that are in here.
I like the idea of striping the brown.
So I could stripe that as well. So yeah, lots of stitch holders in use. And I actually use my tightening device quite a bit. So
She makes sure to tell me that all the time.
I do, because Leslie, like, that's a stupid purchase. And I'm like,
not what
it's
I
the
said.
best purchase ever. So, and I don't have a bag that's living in yet right now. It is living in a rope bucket at my house. And then the second thing on the needles, no, third, I can count, is I started a test knit for Tiff Nylon. This is a shawl that I think she has coming out in April. So it is a skein of hand spun and a skein of Jude's Yarn Stranded Dye Works held together. So this is the blue rinse colorway. I love this colorway. I kind of want to get a whole sweaters lot, like on a different base.
Oh, I was going to say, you and a mohair sweater, that would be a thing to
Well,
see.
I have enough of this left. I actually bought this to do Love Note.
Yeah.
So I'll have enough left over to still do Love Note, because this only calls for like 500 yards, and I bought 5 skeins at 460 yards. So I should have enough. What I'm using right now are these 2. So this was a Knit Spin Farm, not Knit Spin Farm, a Hello Yarn colorway. That I just finished spinning, that now I wish I had gotten a sweater. There's a lot of that because it's so pretty. On Cordale, and then that's the blue rinse. And then after you get to the halfway point, you switch colors. So I'll be using this Into the World's Gray Shetland in Merlin's Beard. And yeah, I'm excited about it.
It's a lot of hand spun so far. We're not even in the spinning section.
We are not. There's one more thing too. So yeah, that is active on the needles. I think I have to get it done by April 3rd, so y'all will see a lot of progress on that. And it's almost to the halfway point now. I have 4 more pattern repeats to go, and then it'll be at the halfway point. And that's being knit on size 8 and 9 needles. The last thing on my needles did not get love, but it's about to because I finished spinning the rest of the yarn for it. This is a Hide and Hammer bag. Her mini, whatever number that is. So I had started this shawl, the Out of Winter shawl by Tammy Gore, on size 6 needles out of Kumasi BFL. I'm going to hold that up so that y'all can see it. And I finished spinning the rest of the hand spun in the contrast brown to finish this up. So I'll show that in the hand spun section. But I actually got this in a bag, got it to where it needs to be to add that contrast. And that will go back on the needles. I think this might actually be a Mom's Mother's Day gift. And then she'll have something to wear for Flyaway, too. That's hand spun.
And then people will ask her what it is, and she'll be like,
I don't know. But my daughter has a podcast. You should check it out. That's normally how that goes. I love these bags, though. Because I can roll them up.
New Mix great bags.
Pop them. So, that is what I currently, all the things that I currently have on the needles.
I mean, it was your week off, so you really sort of exploded with creativity.
I got a lot. I'm actually quite happy with what I accomplished. I feel like I did make some progress. Because as I finished something. But what are, we're not there yet. What are you working on?
So I am working on stuff that you guys saw last week, but I have made some progress. So, at least we have that. The first thing that I'm working on is a pair of socks, and they are out of Knit Spin Farms Sport Weight base. This is not a club colorway. It's called Woolly Mammoth. I'm pretty sure it was one that I took from Laura after she ordered a couple.
Well, at least one.
So, yep, this is called Woolly Mammoth. I finished sock number 1, which I think was what I was working on last week. So this is just a traditional, simple 56 stitches around, heel flap and gusset. And I really like the colors. It's a really good, unusual color combination. This sort of beigey taupe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put with it, but it looks really nice.
It really makes, it's a nice contrast. It makes it pop.
Yeah. So that's sock number 1, and I'm on the gusset of sock number 2.
There you go. You've gotten a lot done on that.
We, while our friend was here, we, in between going to different Memphis spots, we watched some TV and knitted and chatted and played some board games. And
yeah, we did. We played Ticket to Ride and By Felicia.
Yeah.
So, both really fun games.
So, yep, I finished the heel flap and turned the heel, and now I'm on the gusset. So, there's that. So this will be pair number 4 for the year.
Look at you go.
And
have you picked out the yarn for pair number 5 yet?
I've got a couple of options that I'm looking at, so I haven't chosen yet. I need to decide who it's going to be for, and then that'll help me choose. So the other thing that I'm working on is a pattern by Tin Can Knits, and this is from their Handmade in the UK collection, and the pattern is Windswept. So you can make it either as a cardigan or as a pullover. Buffy is here and giving Laura some love.
Aww. She's my bestest girl.
So this goes all the way from 0 to 6 months, all the way up to a 4XL, which has a finished measurement size of 56 inches, although they do say you want a couple of inches of negative ease. So I'm knitting this out of a yarn that came in a Isolde Sweater Club, which was a couple years ago, and I don't know how many shipments there were, but it's this really shiny lace weight. It's a 2-ply of merino, or sorry, is it merino? Yeah. So it just says wool on the back, but it's merino, linen, and silk.
Nice.
So it's got a really nice shine to it and a bit of a halo.
And a bit of like almost frosted look from that linen.
Like luster, kind of. So I'm on the third of 5 skeins that I have.
And you're holding it doubled,
I'm
right?
holding it doubled so that I'm getting around a DK weight gauge. And I'm knitting that on, I believe, 6s. Or 7s. Actually, they might be 7s. I've worn the etching off. But, so I did get to the point where I joined it in the round. It's still very clumped up on the needle, so it looks much smaller than it is. But yeah, so I joined it in the round here.
Nice.
And so I don't have to think about it at all. In fact, I could probably remove a lot of the markers, except for right here in the front, where I've got garter panels and then lace and then another garter panel down the middle. But there's no more increases. There will be some waist decreases soon, and then a few increases to go back out for hips. But yeah, overall I'm really happy. It's the pattern is very simply written, but I find that beneficial because there's fewer things to confuse me. And
Oh, it's easy to understand.
Yes.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
yeah, it's not a confusingly written pattern. It's very clear, and it's impressive that they got so many sizes, and all of it is on 4 pages. I mean, it's 2 pages front and back.
That is impressive.
That's the whole pattern. So they're very good at being concise and clear, which is great.
And they also have techniques that they link a lot of times.
Yep, and they usually link them to their own
Yes.
videos or tutorials
That they've made.
So yeah, at this point I'm just I have a couple of waist decreases and then hip increases to do, but aside from that,
And the lace panel at the front. Look
um,
at you go.
and then the sleeves.
How long are you going to make the sleeves?
I don't know.
It's going to depend on how much yarn you have left.
I think I've got plenty of yarn. I don't think that's going to be a concern. I might actually make them long sleeve because it's a wool silk linen combo, so I won't have to worry as much about getting hot, overheating. And I have a couple of other sweaters that are long sleeve that I wear all the time that are pullovers. So I think I probably will go with wrist length. We'll see. It looks like the cuff is garter, so that's positive. But yeah, no complaints. It's going really, really smoothly, and I'm enjoying it. So
Good.
I'm not rushing it. I expect I'll finish it sometime in the next couple months, but I'm not putting a date on it. It'll be done by SSK.
There you go. That's a date.
Yeah. So.
Whereas I'm like, everything must be done by flyaway.
Yeah. I mean, but you thrive on that. You like having deadlines. You like setting goals. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, it's going to be my first event that I've been to in over 2 years, 2.5 years. So I would like to have some hand spun stuff to wear if it's at all feasible with the weather. Yeah. Although it'll be inside, so we'll see.
Those places tend to over air condition, so
yeah, we will see.
I imagine it'll be fun. What about, you have a finished thing? Do you want to talk about it?
So I totally forgot my sweater because I was wearing it, and now it's in the pile to be worn again, because this week it's going to get down to 55 as a high, so I'm going to get one more wear out of it. But I did finish my Felix pullover by Amy Christophers out of Imperial Yarn Columbia. I knit it on size 9 needles. I used 6 skeins, which is approximately 1,200 yards. Modifications that I did make, and I've put this all in an Instagram post and then also a Ravelry page, is after the first lace repeat, I increased every other row, as like basically every row. So you have the yarn overs of the lace that were increases, and then 5 stitches in from each marker. I did a make 1 increase as well to get my width to where it needed to be a little bit faster. So my size called for this measurement right here to be 14 inches. On me it's 10 inches, so I increased more frequently to get to that 10 inches. The only other modification I made was the underarm was supposed to be like almost a 4-inch, you like cast on 4 inches worth of stitches, and I don't need that much of a gusset here. So I did 2 inches. I did cast on 8 for each underarm instead of 16. And then just because my underarm is higher than my bust, then just increased on this line right here to get that number back up to where it needed to be. It's got around 4 inches of ease, and through the magic of technology, Leslie's going to put a picture, because I actually took outside pictures using a tripod, my cell phone, and my timer. And I tried to get Pearl into them, and she would not. So there's one where I'm just laughing like a loon, and it's because Pearl just ran right through, and like right before it went off, it was very funny to me.
It's like trying to get a toddler to cooperate for a phone.
Yeah, she's like, it was muddy that day, and she's like, I would much rather roll in the mud, Mom, than have to deal with your nonsense. So you'll see finished projects of that. I'm really happy. I wore it a whole day. And I'm really happy with the modifications that I made. So it worked really well for me. Yeah. So that is finished. That's my only finished object. Do you have any finished objects?
Nope.
Cool. You have spinning, though.
I do.
Yes. Talk about your spinning.
Okay. Well, it's going to go relatively quickly because I'm not quite as proficient as Laura when it comes to spinning. I had spun, I showed last week, 2 individual bats from Knit Spin Farm. One was in the colorway Amour, and one was in the colorway, which was sort of a pinky red, and then the other was in a colorway called Distant Lights, which Laura says is purple, and I think is more of a bluey purple.
You'll see in a second, because I finished my 2 too.
But Laura and I frequently disagree on color grades.
We do.
So this is what I ended up with when I applied them together.
Oh, that's so pretty.
It ended up very purple, which is either because one of the skeins is purple, or because one of the skeins is blue purple and it mixed with a pink, and therefore you sort of, you know, when you look at it as a whole instead of the individual plies, you get sort of a purple.
But it does have some nice pink pops and some greeny lime pops.
I'm happy with it. It's very light, which is nice because it was woolen spun, and I tried very hard to not smooth the air out as I was plying, and to just like pinch points and then move the yarn rather than smooth as I went. So
how did you finish it? Did you thwack it?
Yeah, I did a light
thwacking.
Okay. I soaked it for, I don't know, a couple hours, and then I gently squeezed, you know, the bulk of the water out, and then I thwacked it a few times against the side of the garden tub, and then hung it to dry. And so I got about 650 yards.
Wow, good for you.
And it was, I think it was about 6 ounces altogether, because each bat was about 3, a little over. So yeah, I'm happy with it. No idea what I'll do with it, but
You're pretty sure.
Maybe I'll do an SSK giveaway or something.
Or it'd be pretty to knit into that cowl that I just finished, the one that, you know, is on the side diagonal. Like it starts like the top of a shawl.
Oh, foolproof.
Yes. That'd be a pretty foolproof.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I've got a couple of bobbins where I've spun singles on, you know, months ago for the Starling. So one of them I'm going to do a spiral ply on.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
I'm going to do a chain ply on. So maybe I'll have some more hand spun to show next week.
And you have a bat at my house too that you could work on, that red one.
Brick red, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want both of those or just one?
I mean, I'll happily take both of them.
If you want both, that's fine.
I know it's not your specific color of red.
Nah.
But you have a bajillion hand spun things to show, right?
I have 5, 6, 7, 7. So I plied quite a bit this week. I got almost a pound plied, which made me super happy. Maybe a pound, I'll have to weigh it. So I also spun the 2 bats that Leslie spun, and I also did them long draw. I tend to long draw thicker than Leslie. which is funny because we do the opposite.
When it comes to worsted, she spins super thin.
So these are my two things. So Leslie plied these together. Mine are separate.
Yeah. See, to me, this is much more of a bluey purple.
Yeah.
Although it's showing bluer on screen than it is in
is.
person. It's much more purple in person.
And this is much more pink than it is purple.
Yeah.
But, so this one is Amore. It is 56% Targhee, 22% Falkland, 22% Charlace, and then Sari Silk. I spun both these on the Matchless and applied them on the Mini. This is 190 yards, and this one, the Distance Lights, which is Perrindale, Superwash Merino, Falkland, and Angelina, is 200 yards. So 190, 200. So I'm pretty consistent with
Yeah.
my long draw when it comes to Joanna's bats specifically. So these are going to go into a giant mashup bin that I have that eventually I'm going to make a sweater out of all the different Joanna bats that I've spun because they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
Other things that I have finished.
Ooh, look at that brown.
Yeah, so that is a natural Cordale that I got at the Smoky Mountain Spinnery, and I spun to go with that shawl.
Okay.
So I didn't even tag it because it is 370 yards, and I am immediately going to wind it into a ball and start knitting with it. So that will go with the rest of that. It poofed a good bit, which I wasn't expecting.
I'm going to rewind it.
Yeah, will you please? And then the little like ounce that I made on the blending board of the rose inspired Earlax. Those also got plied, and I wound those off on my itty bitty nitty naughty, which is like half a yard.
Itty bitty nitty naughty.
So those are done, and that might make a nice contrast for like a hat or something. Or I'll combine them all together and do something as a reminder of that class. And then this is the Bumblebee Acres Targhee that I was spinning in a colorway that they no longer make. It was 554 yards before I gave it its bath, but Targhee typically poofs, and I always count in around 10% of that to poof, so it's around 500 yards.
So when it poofs and gets fatter, it shrinks slightly.
Yeah, so if you undo that skein again. And, nope. Yep. So you can see the difference in length between the two skeins. So as this poofs, it gets shorter. And this was a gradient, but I did not do a good job dividing the two. So it didn't really gradient a whole lot, but it's pretty. It'll be good for someone.
Yeah. I really like the feel of this.
The Cordale?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should go there next time we go to visit Mom and Dad. And then, because they have a whole wall, Smoky Mountain Spinnery does, of just all naturals.
Oh.
Of different types of breeds of sheep. Which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I got 3 different breeds when I was there. So that was one of them. And then I got a couple more that I'd never spun before. On Pie Day, I started spinning this on my lunchroom. It is Cherry Pie from Inglenook. And it is a Merino Manx Tweed Blend Mulberry Silk in 40, 25, 25, 10. So it's got a lot of texture and shine to it. So I will ply that up. I like the texture bits in it. It wasn't the easiest thing. It was one of those tops that is like all different fibers just striped together. So it wasn't the easiest thing in the world to spin, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it. And then the last thing that I have on my bobbins, I still have the Hobbledehoy batlings because I forgot about them. And put something new on that wheel. But the last thing that I started on a Ladybug is I started these fully spun color bridges. So when Brooke, who's the dyer behind Fully Spun, dyes her roving, she puts bits of fiber between the two braids that just absorbs extra dye. And then she sells those as color bridges because they bridge the colors.
So they're like little bits and bobs.
Yeah,
that
so
she
they're small
groups
bits and
together.
bobs of all different types of fiber, and then she packages them in a very nice bag. And so I spun 4 ounces of those on 2 different bobbins. The other bobbin's still on the wheel, and then I will ply these 2 together, and they are going to be a baby spin for some hats.
It's a great baby color. Nice
Yeah, I
and
think
gender
so.
neutral.
Yep.
No assumptions.
Yep.
I like that a lot.
I think it'll be good. There's the bob. I love the bobbin ends. Look at how pretty that is.
Mm-hmm.
There's the opposite side.
And these are Acreworks.
Yep, these are AcoWorks bobbins. It looks like you're almost with this one because it's yellow on yellow. It almost looks like you're climbing inside the bobbin. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that is all my spinning. Lots and lots and lots and lots of spinning, which is great. So probably around a pound if I had to guess. I think those roll legs are around
I would be thrilled if I got that much
an
in a week.
ounce. Well, a lot of the singles were already done last time we recorded, so a lot of it was plying. But I should have.
I would still be thrilled if I had finished a pound's worth of yarn in a week.
Yeah. Do you know how much I still have on bobbins?
A lot.
2 more pounds.
Yeah. I've been to your house.
But I cleared off 4 wheels. So, of my, like, 8 wheels that had projects on them,
Mhm.
4 are now cleared off. So that also felt good.
Now you can cram more stuff on them.
Well, I am going to do the next thing on my wheel. I was talking to Leslie about this morning. Is I am going to ply away. In case you hadn't heard. And I would like to spin some fibers from some people that are vending at Plyaway to see if I want to buy more of that type of fiber from them. So that is probably what y'all are going to see a good bit of coming down the pipeline, as well as some clubs and some other stuff as well, as stuff comes in.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see. Books and shows and stuff. So I'm re-listening to the Tales of Verania series. That is a male-male fantasy romance series. And I'm on the 2nd book, which is Destiny of Dragons. It's written by T.J. Klune. And I'm re-listening to them because the 5th, I don't really count the short stories book, where they're just retelling stories as part of it, because you could not listen to it and not miss anything. But the 5th book, which is supposed to be about Justin, Prince Justin, is coming out next month. So
Cool.
I wanted to just refresh myself on the characters and everything, even though I've read and or listened to it several times already. I like the characters. So and then I'm reading a couple of different books. One of them is called Winterset Holo. It was on Kindle Unlimited, and it was a horror that came recommended. So it's very strange in that I haven't read anything like it before. Maybe because I just haven't been exposed to it. But it's sort of who was the guy that wrote Winnie the Pooh?
A.A. Milne.
Okay, so pretend that A.A. Milne had actually found those characters and they were real, and he stole them away from their homeland and isolated them on an island, and then wrote about them and accepted all the acclaim and the fame, and they turned murderous.
Oh, interesting.
So it's sort of, that's kind of
The premise?
Yeah, the premise. So I'm a little over halfway through that, and then I couldn't wait to start a new book by Peter Clines, who wrote the series that starts with 14, and then there's The Fold, and then Dead Moon, and then I forget what the 4th one's called. Which it's kind of a horror, sort of Elder Gods sort of kind of thing. But he put out a new book that's just a horror slash thriller. As far as I know so far, it doesn't have any ties to the Elder Gods. One of the main characters is a ghost, which I wasn't thrilled about.
Leslie's not super into ghosts.
It's just not a thing that I'm interested in, but it's a weird take on them, so I'm about halfway through that. I started it last night, and I'm just devouring it, so. What about you?
I forgot my middle grade book that I was reading, Brightest Sea, at school, and I was like, I'm not going back up to school to get it. So I started rereading the Sinner's Gin series by Reese Ford.
I love that
and
series.
And then also 415 Inc. by Reese Ford. And I've also been watching...
And those are male romance.
Yep, adult male romance. Serial killer-esque.
Yeah.
Or stalker aspects to it. So there is a mystery type aspect to it as well. And then I have been watching Father Brown, speaking of mysteries, which is a BBC TV show that is on BritBox, which is murder mysteries. It's kind of like if Murder, She Wrote, instead of an author, she was a priest. You know, like small town, way too many murders happening in a small town. Then I would have to leave that area. It's actually what Nurse Boniface spun off of, so that's why I'm giving it a try again. And I made it through.
Wait, is it Nurse Boniface?
Or not Nurse Boniface?
Sister, right?
Sister Boniface. Okay. Thank you. The episode I'm watching right now of Father Brown takes place in a mental asylum for shell-shocked soldiers after World War II, so there's lots of nurses. Anyway, so watching that, got through all the first season, all 10 episodes, really quickly, like the weekend that we got the snow last time we recorded, because I really wanted to finish that sweater. And then
you did. I was very surprised that
all in one night.
You were like, I didn't even know she finished the first sleeve, and then she was sending a picture of both of them, her in a finished sweater, and I was like, whoa.
And then Would I Lie to You, also on BritBox. We watched season 15 of that.
Oh, yes, okay. I was thinking Taskmaster, and I was like, I don't think they're at that far, but yes, you're right. Would I Lie to You?
Yep.
With Joe Brown and Bob Mortimer and Lee
Joe
Mack.
Brand, yep.
Oh, Brand, yeah, you're right. And
we're confusing all the words today. Welcome to the Knit Girls.
I don't really have anything else.
Nope. SSK, we have our 4th teacher.
Yep.
So that's super exciting. And we are working on vendors right now. We will have a few vendor openings. So look, if you are interested in vending, we will have a form coming out soon that I'll post on all the social medias. So that will be coming out soon. And then we'll start our knit-alongs again once we have all our vendors set up and all that. What's the first payment due date for?
End of March 31st. So, yep, we pulled, I want to say 50 people total off of the waiting list. I think there were like 10 or 12 for day pass and then around 40 for on-site. So, and a few of those people have already let us know, look, I would love to come. I just realized it's not going to work now. So, we'll be pulling some more. So
that's how it works.
Yep, life happens. It just doesn't always work out the way we want. So, if you're on the wait list, just hang in there. We'll let you know as soon as we have an opening. That's all I've got. I can't think straight anymore because I am thrilled we had company this weekend and love Teresa so much. And
it was so nice to see someone.
It was very nice to have someone who is like on my level with naps. It's like we would go and do something and then it would be like 2 o'clock and I'd be like, I'm going home to nap. I'll be back later.
And then Teresa and I would nap.
Yeah, which was wonderful. Like, I don't care how much of an old lady that makes me. That was wonderful.
That's how you know true friends.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Well, you guys have an awesome week/weekend, and we will talk to you again soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.